What if I told you that the anime gods just had a meeting, took one look at 2027 and said, yeah, let's make it rain? Because in the past few days alone, the announcements have been flying. New seasons, new Isekai, a 60-year-old legend getting its glow up, gacha mechanics literally jumping off a phone screen, and a main character who literally turned misfortune into a whole personality. We are not playing around today. This video is packed. So buckle up, grab your snacks or your gacha rolls. No judgment, because if you sleep on these announcements, future you is going to be very, very upset. Welcome back to Anime's Update, the channel that keeps you locked in on everything happening in the anime world before anyone else. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now and smash that bell icon so you never miss a drop. We post, we do this. All right, let's get into it. We're kicking things off with something that is equal parts chaotic, adorable, and completely unhinged, and I mean that in the absolute best way. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gacha Girls core anime is officially happening, and it has a January 2027 debut locked in. Yes, January 2027. The announcement website went live and delivered the goods. A teaser visual, a main cast reveal, and staff info. So this is not a rumor. This is not a leak. This is confirmed. The anime train has left the station, and it's heading straight for our wallets. Wait, no, wrong show. Or is it? So here's the premise, and I genuinely need you to hear this with full attention, because it's actually kind of brilliant in its ridiculousness. The story follows Heihachi Okura, a man so addicted to mobile gacha games that he has, and I quote from the official description, a whale-sized hole in his wallet. This man is spending real money on digital girls. Relatable? I'm not going to answer that. But one day, Heihachi pulls an in-game item and gets literally yanked into another world. Not metaphorically. Physically transported. And when monsters close in on him, and he has absolutely no survival skills whatsoever, what does he do? He does what he does best. He rolls gacha. And the girls? They actually materialize. In real life. In front of him. So this is an Isekai where the power system is gacha mechanics. And look, as someone who has watched this genre grow from guy gets a sword to guy gets a spreadsheet to now guy rolls a literal phone game to summon battle maidens, I have to say we have achieved something. I don't know what exactly, but we have achieved it. The cast is stacked too. Voice actors Daisuke Sakaguchi, Miyu Tomita, and Iori Noguchi are all starring in the anime. Now, if those names mean something to you, you know this isn't just another throwaway adaptation, this is a show with care behind it. And the source material has been building quietly for a while. The original light novel series, written by Chinkaruri with illustrations by Yasutaka Isekai, originally began as a web novel on Shosetsuka and Narrow back in January 2016, before Micro Magazine published it in print under their GC Novels imprint. So this thing has been marinating for nearly a decade before getting its anime. Sometimes the slow burn hits different. The manga version by Sue Haruno has already been rolling out in English through Kaiten Books, so if you're the type who likes to read ahead and then sit in theaters or, in this case, on your couch acting shocked at scenes you already know, this is your chance. Gacha Girls Core is set for January 2027. Mark it down. Put it in your phone. Roll for it even. Okay, still with me? Good. Because now we are switching gears from gacha chaos to something that's a little more cozy. But don't let the word cozy fool you, because this next announcement is actually hiding something much deeper underneath its wholesome surface. The fledgling Demon Lord starter shop is getting a TV anime, and it's also arriving in January 2027. So January 2027 is already shaping up to be absolutely stacked. The manga, written and illustrated by Makoto Morishita, has been serialized in Kodansha's monthly shonen magazine since October 2021. The story takes place after the Demon Lord has been defeated and peace has returned to the world, which sounds great, right? But here's the thing. Peace is actually terrible for business. The hero's victory means no more battles to fight, which means demand for potions and adventuring gear has completely dried up. And our protagonist, a young boy simply called Villager, runs a shop called The Nest that is now, effectively, a ghost town. He's staring down the barrel of total business closure, wondering what his purpose is in a world that no longer needs what he sells. That's honestly kind of poetic. Like, the hero saved everyone, and our guy's response is, great, you just tanked my quarterly earnings. But then enter Mao. A mysterious girl shows up at the Nest one day and changes everything. Her presence disrupts the quiet stagnation of the shop, and her enigmatic nature hints at deeper secrets. Though the world believes the age of conflict has ended, her arrival suggests that new challenges may yet emerge. And yeah, if her name is Mao and she shows up right when conflict is supposedly over, I think we all know where this is going. The Demon Lord angle? Still very much in play. The anime will star Reiji Kawashima as Villager and Rumio Kubo as Mao, with Jun Hira directing at Studio Project No. 9. Keiichiro Oki, whose credits include Adachi and Shimamura, and The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, is handling the series scripts. So the team behind this knows how to do quiet, warm stories with emotional depth. This isn't going to be an explosion every episode kind of anime. This is more like, sit down, have some tea, and then have your heart quietly destroyed by the end of episode 3. You know the type. And honestly, that hits harder sometimes. The manga has already ranked in the Next Manga Award twice, which tells you the source material has been noticed by the right people. January 2027 can't come fast enough. Alright, we just talked about a brand new shop and a fresh Isekai, but now it's time to talk about a legend. A full-on, 62 years in the making legend. Because Cyborg 009, Nemesis is here, the main trailer just dropped, and it is sending a message. Let me give you a little context before we get into the trailer details, because this franchise deserves it. Cyborg 009 is a long-running franchise that originally debuted in July 1964 as a manga serialized in the magazine Weekly Shonen King. It's widely considered the first Japanese manga to star a Western-style superhero team. Let me put that in perspective. 1964. The Beatles were still releasing albums. Man hadn't walked on the moon yet. And here was this manga, already building the template for superhero team storytelling that entire genres would borrow from for decades. This franchise is older than most of your parents. Show some respect. The story follows 9 humans captured by a sinister criminal syndicate named Black Ghost. These 9 come from all over the world and represent many nations and ethnic groups. Black Ghost uses its resources to turn them into powerful cyborgs test weapons meant for a horrible scheme to plunge the world into war. The team revolts against their captors and becomes a group of superheroes fighting against both Black Ghost and other threats to world peace. Now, Nemesis is the newest chapter in that story. The main promotional video is now streaming, and it reveals and previews the ending theme song Climal by Sakima Switch. The video also previews the previously announced opening theme song, Taga Tame Ni, which means For Whom, by singer Kyoko from the rock band Barbie Boys. And here's the part that genuinely gave me chills. The opening theme, Taga Tame Ni, was originally used for the 1979 Cyborg 009 television anime series, and the lyrics were written by Ishinomori himself. So they brought back the original song, written by the original creator, for a brand new anime. That is not just nostalgia, that is reverence. 3 episodes of Cyborg 009, Nemesis will premiere together, each around 30 minutes long. The debut date is July 19th, 2026, and that date carries symbolic weight, because the original Cyborg 009 manga debuted in Weekly King on July 19th, 1964, making this premiere exactly 62 years later. That's not a coincidence. That's a statement. The main character Joe Shimamura, aka Cyborg 009, is voiced by Yuki Kaji, with Yuichi Nakamura and Sari Hayami also in the cast. The anime will hold an advanced screening on July 18th at Shinjuku Wald 9 before it drops on July 19th on multiple streaming platforms, including Abema Premium, Unext, The Anime Store, Anime Hodai, and Prime Video in Japan. The story of Nemesis pits 009 and his group against Nemesis, a new team of cyborgs led by N009/Graviton, who believe that 009 and his friends cannot truly lead the world to peace and seek to change things with new power. So it's not just a villain, it's a philosophical challenge. The antagonists aren't wrong for wanting peace. They just have a very different and very violent definition of how to get there. That moral complexity? That's classic Cyborg 009 energy. And in 2026, this story feels more relevant than ever. Hideki Ambo is directing at Studio Erect. July 19th. It's coming. Fast. Now look, we've covered brand new shows and legendary revivals. But there's nothing quite like finding out that a story you already love is coming back for more. And that's exactly what happened this week. For fans of a returner's magic should be special. Season 2 is locked in for October 2026, and a new character trailer just dropped spotlighting one of the fan favorites, Pram Schnazer. The main voice cast stars Takuma Terashima as Desser, Saomi Suzashiro as Romantica, and Natsumi Fujiwara as Pram Schneider. Now, if you haven't seen Season 1, here's the 30-second pitch that should absolutely sell you on this show. In the year 3626, a shadow world, an alternate dimension that erodes reality appears, and the only way to stop it is to conquer it before the erosion goes too far. Desser Herman and several companions manage to defeat the final boss, only for it to explode, destroying the world. But there's a catch. Desser wakes up 13 years in the past with all his memories intact. So this isn't just a time travel story. This is a man who has already watched everyone he loves die, and is now carrying the weight of that future while trying to rewrite it. That's dark. That's compelling. That's the kind of setup that keeps you watching at 2 a.m. when you promised yourself just one more episode. The opening theme for Season 2 is Sorrow by Flow Yes, the same flow behind that iconic Naruto Shippuden banger. So the music department is not playing. Now about Pram Schneider, specifically this character trailer is significant because Pram is one of the most emotionally layered members of Desser's crew. Pram is the son of a noble father he never met and a commoner mother who raised him until her death. He's known for his swordsmanship using a rapier, but he started out reluctant to use it due to his disdain for his absent father until Desser convinced him otherwise. And in the previous timeline, he died. So Desser, carrying that knowledge, knowing that Pram died in the original future, and still choosing to fight alongside him again, hits completely differently when you know the context. Following a re-air of the first season on Fuji TV and Kansai TV starting July 3, 2026, Season 2 is set to premiere on Fuji TV's Plus Ultra programming block in October of that same year. Crunchyroll is already confirmed for streaming, so international fans are covered. If you haven't started Season 1 yet, now is literally the perfect time. You have until October. No excuses. Okay, pause. Take a breath. Because what I'm about to tell you might cause a physical reaction. If you are a Classroom of the Elite fan, and based on how this franchise has been performing, there are a lot of you. You're going to want to be sitting down for this. Classroom of the Elite Season 5 has been officially announced. Yes, Season 5. Let that sink in. The production was officially confirmed just after the final episode of Season 4's second-year arc, first semester arc aired. That fourth season ran for a total of 16 episodes and delivered in a massive way. And look, this show's history is actually wild when you zoom out. When Season 1 wrapped up in 2017, there was no word about a continuation, and years passed with no sign the show would return. Then 5 years later, when fans had all but given up hope, Season 2 arrived in 2022 and has been followed by new seasons ever since. That is one of the greatest anime comeback stories in recent memory. The community kept it alive through merch, clips, YouTube essays, and sheer collective stubbornness, and the producers heard it. The light novel this anime is based on has surpassed a cumulative total of 8.4 million copies in circulation. 8.4 million. That is not a niche property. That is a phenomenon. And that number explains exactly why Kadokawa and Lurk keep coming back to this well. For those who need a refresher or are completely new and wondering what the hype is about, here's the deal. This is a school anime set at Tokyo Advanced Nurturing High School, where students are given points as currency and compete across classes to climb the social ladder. But the real game is being played by Kiyotaka Ayanokoji, a student in the lowest-ranked Class D who appears utterly average but is, in reality, one of the most frighteningly intelligent characters in modern anime. Every coincidence in this show is a calculated move. Every smile is a strategy. Watching it is like watching chess played by someone who already knows the game ends in 3 moves, and you're only just now learning the rules. As of the end of Season 4, Ayanokoji and the others are now in the midst of their second year, and fans can expect Season 5 to continue covering that arc and diving deeper into the White Room mystery. No release date has been confirmed yet, but the announcement was made immediately after the finale. The engine is already running. Season 5 is happening. All right, let me bring the energy down just a notch because not every anime has to be a war. Sometimes you just want to watch someone eat good food in a fantasy world and feel absolutely nothing but contentment. And if that's the vibe you're chasing, the Forsaken Saintess and her foodie road trip in another world might be your new obsession. A brand new trailer just dropped, and this one is highlighting the ending theme song. But first, let me tell you what this show is actually about, because the title is doing a lot of heavy lifting, and I want to make sure you understand the full picture. The story centers on Rin Takanashi, a working adult around 30 years old who's into camping and tabletop RPGs. She gets summoned to another world as a saint alongside a beautiful high school girl, but when the prince learns that her skills are a motor house, camper van, and survival, he instantly labels them as garbage and exiles her on the spot. Now, on the surface that sounds like a tragedy, and in any other Isekai it would be. But Rin, she doesn't care. She doesn't spiral. She doesn't vow revenge. She goes, okay, cool. I'm going camping then. Rin discovers that her skills are actually incredibly useful in special environments. So she summons her dream camper van and sets off on a foodie road trip through this fantasy world, meeting wonderful companions along the way. This is gourmet meets Isekai meets slow life, wrapped in the energy of a woman in her 30s who has genuinely stopped caring what anyone else thinks about her choices. It's aspirational. It's calming. And honestly, it might be the most relatable protagonist of the year for anyone who's ever just wanted to drive somewhere and eat good food in peace. The new trailer highlights the ending theme, Holy Sweet Home, performed by Onken Lemonade, and the anime is scheduled to begin airing in Japan on July 6, 2026. Director Atsushi Nigarikawa is leading the series, with Takashi Aoshima known for 100 Girlfriends handling series composition and EMT Squared in charge of animation production. HIDIVE will stream the anime in the US, Canada, the UK, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand. They're even screening the North American premiere at Anime Expo on July 4th. So if you're at Anime Expo this summer, you might be watching this one early. The opening theme is Butterfly by Inuyasha, the ending is Holy Sweet Home by Onken Lemonade, and the whole vibe of this anime sounds like it was designed to be played on a Sunday morning with a warm drink in your hand. No stress. No drama. Just Rin and her camper van, and a whole fantasy world full of ingredients. July 6th. Mark it down alongside Cyborg 009. July is shaping up to be genuinely stacked. And now, we close out today's video with something that is just pure, oh, the universe has a sense of humor energy. Ladies and gentlemen, The Strongest Man, Born from Misfortune is getting a TV anime, and it's set to premiere in 2027. A teaser visual just dropped, along with staff reveals and an image song that might already be one of my favorites of the year. Let's talk about the story first, because this one has a spin I genuinely enjoy. The story follows Siegbert, who is reborn after an unfortunate accident in his previous life. In his new world, his family is warm and welcoming so much so that it seems like he may no longer be an unlucky person. It seems he can finally live a quiet, peaceful life, or so he thought, because it turns out he actually holds an insanely high luck stat in this new world. So the idea here is, a man who spent his entire previous life being beaten up by misfortune has been reincarnated with maximum luck, but it doesn't show up the way you'd expect. It's not lottery tickets and convenient coincidences. It's more like the universe decided to front-load all his fortune into raw power. Tragedy converted to strength. That's the kind of concept that sounds simple, but has real emotional meat underneath it when you dig in. The anime will be directed by Shigetaka Ikeda, with Aki Mizuki in charge of series composition. Yumiko Hara and Yuki Osada are handling character designs, and East Fish Studio is producing the animation. Now here's the part that actually got me, the image song. The voice actor Shoya Chiba, who stars in the anime as protagonist Siegbert, will also perform the image song Luck Out, and he wrote the lyrics himself. Let me say that again. The lead voice actor wrote the lyrics for the image song, which is literally called Luck Out, which works as both our luck has run out, and we finally got lucky. That's a double meaning doing heavy lifting, and I am here for it. The song will be featured in an image promotional video planned for release this summer. So stay tuned for that, because it sounds like it's going to hit hard. The franchise has already surpassed 1.5 million copies across its novels and manga, with the manga published digitally in English through Manga Plaza under the title The Strongest Man, Born from Misfortune. So if you want to get ahead of the curve before the 2027 premiere, you can start reading right now. The story is still ongoing, the fanbase is growing fast, and the anime announcement proves that the people with production budgets have noticed. This is the kind of Isekai that isn't trying to reinvent the wheel, it's trying to make the wheel really good.